Hi, this is Dan, and this is Freedom Bus Chronicles, coming to you live in the Freedom Bus. Just wanted to give you an introductory uh, post of uh, how we got started on our freedom journey. Um, and let me just give you a little quick shot of the bus so we'll let you know where we're at. Just wanted to begin by saying how we got on this journey. One day I was considering our finances and to be quite honest, we were uh, in debt over our head, and I know that that's easy to do with all the credit that you can get. It's easy to get money, but it's hard to pay it back. So um, I looked at my circumstances and I began to think, what can I do? What can I do to change the predicament that I'm in? And this was right around. It was around 2008 when we began to really consider uh, our situation. And what happened was we had a small business, and that small business, we lost about 30% of our income overnight because of we had a few contracts that kind of dropped away, and it was just the downturn in the economy, and so we really couldn't afford to go that route. And I guess we could have scrambled to get more business at that time, but things were starting to get a little tight in the economy, and people weren't as apt to give you a contract that easily. I mean, they were kind of looking at their situation too, so it was a little tough, and I decided we're going to have to, kind of get rid of some of our liabilities, and really honestly, I couldn't understand. I couldn't think of what we could do. We started selling properties. We had a house in Sioux Falls that we sold, and we were fortunate to get out from under that. And honestly, in this process, somewhere along the line, I don't remember exactly when, but I really I really sought God and said, God, forgive me for being so foolish and getting so deeply into debt where I really can't repay the debt. If something should happen, I would be stuck with this burden of debt, and my wife would be in it, and I wasn't happy about that situation. So I asked God to forgive me for being so foolish, and little by little, He helped me to get out of debt, and now we're debt free, and we don't have a care in the world. We've moved to Florida. We're living on a little property, it's about 2.5 acres, I guess. Um, and we really have a great setup here. We just, God has been so good to us, and we we're just trying to live for Him the best way that we can. And I just asked God, forgive me for being so foolish, forgive me, and help me to get out of debt and stay out of debt. And to this point, up till this point, we're out of debt, and we plan to stay that way. We don't plan to be back into debt anytime soon. We I've come to know and to understand that debt is a trap, and the whole world system is set up so that someone would keep you paying these interest payments, and you're keeping you in debt. And debt is a trap, but I'll tell you, when you're out of debt, there's freedom. So thus came the Freedom Bus. We we decided to fix this whole bus up I had a friend that I met in South Dakota, good man, helped me get the bus ready to go. He is a bus owner also that travels, and he knows the pitfalls that you can come into if you own a bus. So he helped me to get my bus ready to travel, and we made a successful trip from South Dakota to Florida with our 40-foot converted school bus. And here we are, and I am so thankful we're out of debt. And my wife is happy that we're out of debt. Our son lives with us here on this property also, and so we're just excited to begin this series on Freedom Bus Chronicles. And the point of this whole thing, the point of this whole channel, is to encourage those of you that are in debt to find the way to freedom, find the way to be debt free. And I'll tell you something: when your old head hits that pillow at night, you feel pretty good. If you're out of debt, there's a ton of weight that's lifted off your shoulders, and it's a wonderful feeling to know that whatever money you make is your money. You're not going to pay your lender. You know, and the Bible says the borrower is servant to the lender, and that is certainly true. And you'll pay back every penny that you borrow and then some. You know, so you know how that works. So there is a way to freedom. There is a way to get out of debt. And the way that I've done it, and the way that my wife and I have done it, is to just ask God to help us. Help us and forgive us for being foolish with money. And He has done that. And it's amazing what God can do if you just turn to Him and ask Him to forgive you, ask Him to help you in this life. And He certainly will. He'll be there for you, and you'll be amazed what He'll be able to do in your life. So I want to encourage you any way that I can to become debt free. And if I can do anything to help you, please let me know in the comments. Please let me know how I can encourage you, and how you know, there's a lot of different ways to get started. And the first place that I'd start, though, if I were you, is to ask God to forgive you if you've been foolish with money. Ask Him to forgive you. Ask Him to get you out of debt. And if you do, He will. And I promise you that. And He's the same to everybody. He's a great God that just wants to help us. And all we need to do is come to Him and ask Him for help. So God bless you. And it's so good to be on the Freedom Bus, living in the Freedom Bus. I hope that we can continue with this series and be of an encouragement to those of you that are looking for freedom, looking for a better life. Is your life what you want it to be, or are you looking for freedom? Are you looking for a better way of living? And I've found that. My wife and I have found that, and we are never turning back. And it's too good. Once you've come to this place, it's like, well, it's almost like turning to God and being free from your sin. But there's nothing like it in the world. So I encourage you, and please leave some comments if we can help you in any way. Please let us know, and like and subscribe if you would. God bless. We'll talk to you next time.